Order. Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome to tonight's meeting on August 23rd, 2022. Tonight's meeting will be conducted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is posted on the back wall. That might be the most entertaining thing to happen up here.
No, it's the second time.
Okay, first item of business other than the chair, approval of the minutes for August 9th, 2022. Any comments, questions, corrections, anything anybody saw? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Radcliffe, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ellwanger. Roll call.
Ellwanger,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5 in favor, 0 against. Item number 3, comments by the public. If there's anybody who wishes to speak to anything that is not otherwise on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 4. Consideration of Constitution Day and Constitution Week proclamation. And we have Glenda with us, and you can speak to that a little bit.
I'm a member of the Fort Sidney chapter, National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, and that's a lineage organization that we must prove. We had a direct ancestor that somehow supported the revolution. It could have been paying taxes, it could have been signing something, or it could have been fighting. DAR is for God, Home, and Country, and we support historic preservation, education, and patriotism. So that's why I'm here. Before I forget, I brought constitutions.
Oh, perfect.
Good.
Shall I leave them on the desk? Shall I
Yeah.
hand them out? What shall I do?
We could set them there on the corner there, the tray by the door. That'd be fine, and people can grab one as they leave. if
Okay.
That's okay.
They're from Hillsdale College, and I think anybody can request copies, and there's no charge.
Okay.
So, now, do you want to read this?
Yep, I will read the proclamation that you've provided us with. So, proclamation for Constitution Day and Constitution Week. Whereas September 17th, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I, Roger Galloway, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Sidney, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitutions had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. And ask that businesses, school children, and teachers and citizens ring bells at 4 p.m. on September 17th, commemorating the day and hour the Constitution was signed in 1787. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city to be affixed this 23rd day of August of the year of our Lord 2022. And I will provide you with a copy of that.
Thank you.
And then one for our records here. Okay, thank you very much.
And I come back because, as you heard him say, it's just for a year.
Yes.
And we also take exhibits to the libraries in town, well, in the whole county. And you're the last one on my list. I've been to all the councils in the hamlets, villages, towns, and cities, and commissioners in the county to get them to do the same thing. And last year I asked you about if ringing bells. So I did indeed call every single church in the whole county. I have no idea whether they rang bells, but
Okay.
we asked them to.
Well, I certainly appreciate you bringing this to everybody's attention.
And we also have supplied reproducible materials to all the schools in the county, from preschool on up.
Okay. Very
Thank
good.
you so much for your time.
Thank you.
See you next year. If these aren't all taken, I can pick them up in your office,
Sure, that would be fine.
but you can give them out, you don't have to. just
Yeah,
take
and
them.
we can always give them out at future meetings as well.
I'll just leave them all, because we have a bunch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would have said come back.
Okay, so next on the agenda will be item number 5, report to council regarding the new long-term care facility being planned by SRMC, and we have CEO Jason Pegg to speak to us.
Thank you. Kind of a little bit of contextual information heading into this conversation, I believe, would probably be necessary to kind of bring everybody up to speed where we're at. 9 years ago, when we started talking about a new hospital facility, it wasn't the only facility that we were looking at to move. We were looking at moving long-term care at the same time or shortly thereafter, but we all know that the changes in demographics and everything that happened with our community, and thus the long-term care was put on hold for quite some time. We've been evaluating it for the last 6-7 years and trying different ways to get this accomplished, and we've been fortunate enough to work with a couple different architects, different long-term care providers, and with the board of directors, and we finally have put pencil to this to the point where we believe this is a realistic expectation and something that the board is fully engaged and supportive of. So we are looking at a new long-term care facility, roughly a 50,000 square foot facility that will be next to the hospital, that would be connected to the hospital. It would be on the west side of the property, so that Greenwood Road side of the property is where it would be located. We have obtained the USDA funding for $12 million for 40 years at 2.5%. So we know we're stealing some money there. We have also obtained the construction funds from local lenders to then be taken out by USDA at the end of that. We have roughly $8 million of our own cash that we're looking at present to USDA for the project. So the total project is right around $19.5 million. And we'll be looking to start a capital campaign to see how many, our goal right now is currently to raise about $3 million of that $8 million, just to be able to sustain operations. So that's the down and dirty on the long-term care facility. It's 63 beds. 12 of those beds, 6 of them would be semi-private, otherwise the rest of them would all be private. The rest of the rooms are again private. We do have an Alzheimer's or a memory care wing built into this one. We have reopened that service in our current facility, but we will be presenting that into the new facility as well. A lot of people have kind of asked, well, what's wrong again with the old facility? Well, just like the old hospital, dated roofs, siding, windows, HVAC systems, all those different things. Right now, we had a preliminary plan put together 2 years ago that would take care of a roof, windows, paint, carpet, and that's it. And that estimate was around $8 to $10 million. So for double that, we're looking at a new facility that can bring all the efficiencies of the design of the overall facility into play as well. I mentioned other healthcare providers. We worked with a company called Better Health Services out of Lincoln, Omaha area. They provide roughly 33 long-term care facilities in the state of Nebraska, home state company, if you will. They have the facility up in Gearing and one in Alliance out there. And we reached out to them to kind of figure out what their secret sauce was in regards to how they operate, how they design, all these different things. The building that we're working on developing through USDA financing is basically a mirror image of the Broken Bow facility, which was built about 6 years ago. And it was built by Better Health Services. So they were cordial enough to basically hand those plans over to us, and we were able to save a lot of A&E funds because the facility is basically already built. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We are obviously going to have to change some things for code in those type of situations, but other operational issues, we're really excited that we're able to work with a company that's been very successful in the state of long-term care. So, any questions I might be able to answer about long-term care? I know I gave the same similar situation review to the county commissioners. If you have any questions from this, we'll talk again, I guess, at some point.
So this one will have an Alzheimer's unit dedicated to that.
Memory care unit, yes.
Does that split off a certain number of beds or just as needed?
18 to 19 beds
Of the 63?
of the 63.
Of the
yep.
63.
Yep,
Same number of staff, Jason, from the old one to the new one?
correct. Yep. You know, healthcare in rural communities as a whole, as facilities grow and expand, they start to become the sprawling thing that really never was what the intent was as far as staffing efficiency and resident use and family use. So buildings become kind of sprawled out, like if you remember in the hospital, you know, if you were in the clinic and you had to go to x-ray or the lab, it was roughly 300 yards to walk. Well, there's nothing unique about long-term care facilities either. They kind of do the same thing. And you lose any kind of efficiencies that was originally built into the facility if you don't evaluate that. We have basically taken an FTE model, which is almost the same exact FTE model that we currently have. It's a couple less. But again, working with Better Health Services, trying to figure out exactly what the right numbers are from a financial perspective to make sure that it can work operationally. That's what we're trying to mirror, is that system that's currently functioning. So but you know, apples to apples, it's about dead on. Okay.
Any other questions for Jason while we have him here?
I'll go ahead and ask one about when we're going to see the dirt being
Well, so our project timeline right now is basically, so we've been approved by USDA for the funding. So we have 3 to 5 years to actually move on that funding or have to progress towards completion of the project. Obviously, we want to move forward as quickly as we can. We have working with RDG as an architect company and Ferris Engineering here locally on the design and the tweaking of that project, if you will, so that we are hopefully going to be going to bid this fall and then looking to turn dirt in the spring of next year, and then about a year of build beyond that. So spring of '24 is kind of our timeline for opening. So that's, if all the stars, moon, contractors all line up in one spot, we might be able to hit that deadline. But we've met with the architects for the last 2 days, reviewed some connection points into the existing facility, what that might look like, what the entrance points may be off of Greenwood, tied in with our current parking lot situation, to just kind of make sure we've got the right patient flow going. It would face, the front of the building would face the same as the current of the hospital. It would be on the south side of the hospital, facing south, I guess.
It'll have separate parking then in front of it,
Yes.
just like the hospital does then?
Yes, yep. Yeah.
Okay. Any plans for the old facility yet?
The plans from the board's perspective right now is basically take it back to Greenfield eventually. And I don't know if it would happen at the same time as, you know, as we're moving out, kind of a scenario, but I'm guessing in 25, 26, somewhere in there. We've got a current bid or an approximation of about $1.5 million to take that back to Greenfield. So whether that's something that we can put back and then put up residential lots up for sale in that area or something, I think that's what currently the plan is, to keep the old SMA clinic in place, and then the hospital and nursing home would come down, basically. So that would be the plan there. And then the associated parking lots would all come out and everything.
Okay. Well, certainly applaud you and the board for moving forward on the project. I think it's
Thanks.
going to be a great asset to the community to be able to offer that type of care facility right here locally. So
Appreciate that, thanks.
look forward to seeing the project move forward.
Thanks. I do have a few other items, if you don't mind, just take advantage of the podium here just a little
Sure.
bit, just to kind of bring you up to speed on what's going on out at the hospital. We got 6-month financials, basically as a review for the year of June 20, or of the year of 2022 through June, and we're basically operating at a net margin of 0.1%. Our operating margin, however, though, is 3.6%. Our EBITDA, which is 11.6%, is compared to a budget of 10.9. So 6 months through the year, we're actually doing quite well. Our days in AR are coming down, and our cash on hand is close to 300 days of cash on hand. It represents almost $38 million. So able to cover our expenses. Wanted to bring you up to speed. We've had a lot of changes in our providers. We have, of course, Dr. Matthews, who just started back with us in the clinic. We've also hired Dr. Sariano, who's a medical oncologist, and also Joy Batt, who is a nurse practitioner oncologist. So we're starting up a cancer care center, if you will, right there in our facility right now. We've also hired Dr. Ballinger, who is an ear, nose, and throat physician. He'll be starting with us in October. We have a dermatologist, Dr. Bach, which we're looking at starting in January. We also have Dr. Von Stadi. She is an orthopedic surgeon, so we'll actually have 2 orthopedic surgeons on staff. She'll be coming opposite Dr. Sisk, so we'll have orthopedic coverage every week in the facility going forward. We have a lead on a rheumatologist and a pulmonologist, so we're looking at working into those specialties as well. So quite a few new services that we're looking at bringing into the facility. We're excited that we're able to bring them in. A lot of them are coming through UC Health or through Fort Collins or through the Rural Co-op, which is a group of critical access hospitals, specifically the ENT physician. We've hired between Holdridge, Sidney, and McCook, basically 3 ways to hire this one person out of Colorado, and he'll travel back and forth between the facilities. So we're super excited about that. The other thing I just want to bring everyone's attention from the financial perspective is that through the first half of the year, the board takes giving back to the community very seriously, and just to kind of give everyone's attention, everything from 4-H to American Legion to Night of Hope to junior college, we've given out almost $100,000 in donations in the first 6 months back to the community in different types of fundraising events or sponsorships or marketing of those kind of things. So it's something that the board really pushes on us to make sure that we're giving back to the community in those ways. One of the challenges that we're dealing with right now, other than this and financial, is of course staffing. Just like everybody in the Panhandle, when it comes to trying to find professionals, whether it be LPNs or RNs, we're struggling to find those folks. We're offering full ride scholarships for LPNs and RNs. We're looking at tuition reimbursement. We're looking at recruitment bonuses, referral bonuses, anything that people are interested in we can do to somehow financially incentivize people to come in. We have roughly, in the acute care hospital alone right now, we could hire 11 nurses right now. So we're covering it basically right now with basically people, everyone's working basically a shift or a shift and a half over what they've been hired for from the nursing perspective. So, and that goes across both acute and long-term. Long-term care is not as many, but it's as serious a situation. But that extends down through LPNs and the aides as well. So, those are our challenges. Any questions? I kind of jumped around a little bit there for you, but and if there's anything, I need to apologize. If there's anything that the council would like me to report on a regular basis, I'd be more than happy to set it in the calendar. And whether it's financial updates or operational updates or services, whatever I could bring back to the council that you'd find helpful, I'd love to do. So.
Sure. No, appreciate the update and the snapshot of what's going on with the hospital, and look forward to all the great things to come.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we'll move on to item number 6, consideration of updating drug policy. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening, I'm Autumn Ramirez. I'm the HR director here and the admin to the city manager. And I need a step stool, because I can't see over the thing. Our drug policies, we have 3 drug policies. We have a DOT FMCSA, which is Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association policy. We have a DOT FTA, that's our Federal Transit Administration policy, that's the bus drivers. And then we have a non-DOT drug policy. Well, because we get grant money from the state of Nebraska, the Nebraska Department of Transportation, they dictate the DOT FTA policy, and because of that, there's some federal regulations that has been changed, and we have to bring it to you to get signed off on and to prove that we changed the policy, updated it, and got your blessing for it and turn it in for grant money. So with that, I looked at the other 2 policies that we have, and there was some verbiage that needed to be changed. Joe Hauser's no longer the DER, so I changed that, and then we updated the medical recorder information from WPCI. They have a new doctor, so I had to change that on the plans for the non-DOT and the DOT FMCSA plan. So I just changed some verbiage on there and then updated the FTA based on the state of Nebraska's ruling, and then all we need to do is get your blessing and get it signed off on.
What was the state of Nebraska's ruling?
So they updated, they made some pretty changes with some bullet points, and then they added like a negative result, what that meant, and what an MRO was, a medical recorder operator. MRO is a medical review officer, and they added like what a substance abuse provider is considered, just some definition changes, that was it.
So will any of those changes impact us financially?
No, none of the changes will impact us financially at all. Unless I charge you for changing my name, I don't know.
And I was, with the updates, is it required to put a name or can you put a position?
You can put a position as well, but a DER stands for a designated employee representative, so I think you have to name somebody.
Because it was me for a
Okay.
while.
Right.
Yeah.
Between Joe
I just
and
wondered if sometimes we don't pigeonhole ourselves by putting a name when we should be
Right.
putting a position.
I agree, but I think that their whole
Requires
point
it,
is
okay.
it's federal and they want to have somebody they can hold accountable and make the phone call to, so
Sure.
that's why.
Okay, we can do that, I think.
And yeah, all 3 plans have signature pages.
Okay.
Yeah,
So there were federal changes and state changes.
just federal changes, just federal changes. But because the bus runs through the state of Nebraska for grant money, they came through and said, we have to change it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Autumn or staff? If not, is there a motion to approve the updates to the drug policy?
So moved.
Motion by Olson,
Second.
second by Ellinger. Roll call.
Sherman?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
Elwinger?
Yes.
Motion carries 5 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 7, budget reports for July 2022. Yeah.
I know it's what y'all came for. Good evening, Link Desire, Finance Director. Go over what I got here. As you looked at your report, you'll see property tax varies year to year, pretty consistent with previous years in terms of percentage for where we are. Sales tax, I always like to add in that last one. Barring any unforeseen refunds, we should hit our mark. We're at 85% through the year. Summer months typically seem to be the big spender months, and we're 2 months back, so we'll see, in August, we'll see June and July still for September and August, so typically pretty good months. Fees for service, almost identical to where we were a year ago. Aquatic Center closed on August 7th. I'll provide some final numbers for that at the next meeting. But I do want to highlight transportation in this category. If you look at the report from January to July in 2020, which obviously was COVID, we provided 3,234 rides to residents in town. 2021, during that same time frame, it went up to 5,906. And this year alone, we've provided 7,586 ride to residents, and those numbers keep getting bigger and bigger. More and more people are using that service. State, federal, and county varies. We're a little bit ahead this year just because of the large equalization money. And then franchise and admin fees really isn't anything too crazy to report. Third quarter admin fees have been recorded now, and fourth quarter will be done prior to before the end of the fiscal year, so, which is coming up.
So on the rides, and are we approaching maximization of our equipment?
No, we have, we just got a new bus from COVID and
Well, I have no
two.
idea, what
Yeah.
capacities are.
Yeah, and really, we're running 2 buses. In fact, Casey approached me today and said that because of the school system and transporting people from school, he thinks he's going to have to bring one of his part-time guys that he typically doesn't have to bring in for a couple of hours during that time just because of the amount of rides that they're providing right now.
But our equipment
Yeah, very up to date. I think we have 2 buses that are like 2019 or newer that the federal government paid for, so.
And we're doing just the dial-a-ride, we're not, previously we had done the dial-a-ride plus route.
Yeah,
So
and there's
now
no
we're
route,
just-
this is just dial-a-ride, these are people
dial-a-ride.
calling in, and he did just sign up to do rides so patients or people on Medicare and Medicaid or whatever, they need a ride to the hospital, Medicare will provide rides for those people if they don't have transportation otherwise, and so he's in the process of setting up that to facilitate those rides right now as well too, which will probably increase our riders as well, so.
Sure.
I think that's important, because a lot of them sometimes, if we don't have that Medicare-provided service, will jump on a bus and go to Kimball. Just because they don't, Medicare will pay, rather
Yeah.
than them having to pay us, to drive them to our hospital. So this will help that significantly, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think-
I've talked with Jason about this too, and clearly he's on board with this, because it will definitely help our hospital as well.
And Kimball County is one of the, their transit system is one of the few that, in the area that provides Medicaid, Medicare rides.
Yeah.
And so this just puts us there. Obviously, we're staying in Sydney, so this is, protecting our residents, getting them, that way they don't have to wait for somebody from Kimball or schedule a ride with somebody from Kimball to come pick them up right here and convenient, so.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's gonna be done. I know it's a, federal paperwork and hoops to jump through, but that is coming in the next couple of months.
So
but
it definitely improved the viability of our service.
It does.
Okay, anything else with budget?
Everybody got their budget books right? Loving them?
Yes.
You like the cover? Lori did that cover this year, so.
It was one of the best looking covers. I
Yes,
wanna
that's
make sure I
cool.
said
That was,
Didn't
that was
notice
all Lori.
Didn't notice it.
I mean, I just looked at the cover for like a half hour before I even opened it.
That's what I do too.
Just a half hour?
Huh?
Just a half hour?
Yeah. You know how long I read it?
It still hasn't opened yet. The last finance director was nowhere near as creative.
Well, I wasn't creative. I just handed it to Lori. I said, Lori, can you change this?
Why didn't I think of that?
So,
All right. Okay, if there's no other questions for Lane, is there a motion to approve budget reports for July 2022?
So moved.
Motion by Sherman. Is there a second? Second by Radcliffe. Roll call.
Galloway?
Yes.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
Elwinger?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Motion carries 5 in favor, 0 against. Item number 7, consideration of ordinance 1837, changing council meeting start time and action as applicable. Most of this come about in part because I've changed some of my work responsibilities. I was asked to take on some extra coaching and things, which do conflict with start times. So basically, we have 3 options. We can leave the ordinance as it is. We can change to a permanent start time, or we could change to a time that changes for a specified amount of time, and then revert back. So it really is up to the council where they would like to proceed with this. And just for my 2 cents, yeah, most days would have struggled getting here, even now, at 6:45. Would have been difficult. And I know at times we've had other people that have had to cut it close getting here at 6:15, so. Whether it's people want to consider a change, or consider a temporary change, or consider a permanent change, I guess I'd like to hear anybody else's thoughts.
Well, I think made my thoughts
Yeah.
clear, and that I think we ought to do, if we change it, we do one change, and it's not seasonal. It's
Right.
straight through the year, and then we live with that for a while.
And I agree with everything you said last meeting too, Bob, is there's a lot to be said for consistency and what the public can expect, and I think that's probably the route that's maybe I would consider the most fair and consistent to everybody is a permanent change in time. But love to hear anybody else's thoughts or anything else. So.
I would favor a temporary change in time. Has anybody ever had anybody come up to me and say, gee, I missed the city council meeting because I didn't know when it started? I haven't. We get very little community presence here as it is, other than city staff, so.
I know it's you guys' desk, Councilman, I have one quick question. Would that be just for 2022?
Well, it depends on how Jay said we structure this to meet ordinance requirements.
I left I left them to be, I guess, basically because of what I'd heard Bob say, was that whatever change we make, we need to make it so that it's not continuing to change. So I left it to where it was each year until you guys change it again.
So even if it's just for a couple months, it would bounce back and forth in 2023 for those 2
Right.
months?
And 2024 and until the next council decides that they want it different.
Right.
Do it always change during football season?
You had also said that it might be a problem during track as well.
I've had to work around it before.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to make concessions both to council and to the school on various occasions. But I want something that everybody here is comfortable with and that represents the best interests of the community too, so.
So when we were at 7 o'clock, did that affect you?
Most of the time that was fine. Yeah, most of the time that was fine. I guess I had proposed potentially a 7 o'clock start time versus, previously we had always done 7:15. Is what we had been on for a long, long time prior to this last change. So I guess I, personally would entertain that as a start time.
7:15?
7.
7.
I mean, it's a little bit of concession on both ends, but. And I think that's something that would be simple enough to resonate with the public. They can remember that.
Well, then I'll make the motion that we approve 7 o'clock start time year-round.
Okay. So motion by Olson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ellinger. Roll call.
Radcliffe,
No.
Olson,
Yes.
Elwinger,
Yes.
Sherman,
No.
Galloway.
Yes. So motion will carry 3-2. And if that hadn't passed, we'd have entertained a different motion, so.
Can I make a quick
So,
point, just so that everybody
I need-
knows? The second meeting in September will be the budget meeting, which we usually do right before this one, so that will be at 6 then?
It's this one. It's the second one.
Or wait a minute, that's usually just a half hour. isn't it?
7.
We've scheduled it as,
I think it's a half hour.
we've scheduled it a number of different
It's
ways.
the
We've
second
scheduled it
one
as an extra
that I
meeting.
did.
Sometimes it's been
You're on the
before the
first
council
one.
meeting. Sometimes it's been the day before, sometimes it's been
They
at
just
noon.
passed.
It's always easier to do at the same time. I think
mean,
it's a
you have
half
some-
hour.
Oh, so it's
isn't it?
going to be,
You have some flexibility with that, is what I'm saying.
We can do it as, I mean, it's always easier if you do it at the same time because you're going to go right back out and then approve the things you just talked about in a regular meeting. But we did do the one year, we did the, well, we resigned the meeting. We had an open meeting, resigned, went into that
This
one and
is
then
what I
resigned
want.
back and came back.
Do you
How
want
did we
mine?
do that, Jay? Do you remember?
I'm sorry.
I know you guys are busy, but.
I was trying to do the,
At one point, we did do the budget meeting where we entered regular meeting and then signed out and then came back in.
Yeah, we did
again.
sign die.
But last year, we just went straight from one and said the regular meeting will start whenever time the budget meeting
Correct.
ends, right?
Correct. Last year, we said that we did the budget meeting first and set it for a specific time.
Mhm.
And then,
immediately following that will be the regular meeting.
Mhm.
It didn't have a specific time.
Right.
So we can do that and start the budget meeting whenever. It'll be long if you do it at 7, but we can do it that way. Just let me know.
Okay.
We'll have to do
Well,
that.
let's-
At least that one meeting, there'll be 2 meetings in the same night.
Let's finish this one up, though, first. So we have approved a permanent time change to 7 PM. In the interest of making it work, I suppose I would ask if there's interest in waiving the 3 readings. Otherwise, it'd be a moot point as far as my job change right now.
So moved.
Motion by Olson to waive the 3 readings. Is there a second? I'll second. Roll call.
Wilson,
Yes.
Elwinger,
Yes.
Sherman,
No.
Galloway,
Yes.
Redcliffe.
Yes.
Motion carries 4 in favor, 1 against. Finally, is there, let's see, where am I at here, Jay? Is there, you
you've
passed
done,
it,
you've waived the 3 readings.
so just publish it.
Right, you've got to,
We didn't designate.
yeah, we should have started with the
We should-
designation.
That
and
was
I-
actually the designation.
Okay, correct. So you start with the designation, then you go to the waiver.
Right.
Right,
So
so-
then this would constitute the final reading of ordinance number, where's it at? 1837. Is there a motion then to finally pass 1837?
Ask the clerk to read the ordinance
Ask
by
it to
number.
read it by
Do I have to designate it? We
title
didn't designate
first.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
she already read it by title. No, she has not.
No, she has
She has
not.
to read it by title first.
Yeah. So,
Then, once it's passed, we'll read it by number.
just so that we can clarify and make sure that our minutes are
Yeah.
correct.
The first one was to designate ordinance
Okay,
number
so we did get
1837.
a designation of the ordinance number. Okay, so then you read the ordinance by title. So let's go ahead and do
Right.
that now.
It'd be title.
Okay.
Because they're saying that they've already designated it. That's what they did their first vote for, even
Okay,
though.
okay, I got it.
So that's what they're doing.
Technically, it was to designate.
Okay.
Right, okay. So now you're going to read the ordinance by title.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 220, Council Section 220.01, Meetings of the Sydney Municipal Code to change the time of the regular meetings of the City Council of the City of Sydney from 6:15 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month to 7 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, to repeal such section as heretofore exiting, and to provide for the effective date of this ordinance.
So we've designated ordinance 1837. We've waived the 3 readings. So this would be the final reading of 1837. Is there a motion to finally pass ordinance 1837?
So moved.
Motion by Olson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Elwanger. Roll call.
Elwinger,
Yes.
Sherman,
No.
Galloway,
Yes.
Redcliffe,
No.
Olson.
Yes.
Motion carries 3 in favor, 0 against. I would ask the clerk to read the ordinance by number.
1837.
And then finally, I would ask, is there a motion to publish ordinance number 1837? This is just to publish it in the paper.
So moved.
Motion by Elwanger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Olson. Roll call.
Sherman,
Yes.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Said
yes. He said yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Redcliffe,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Elwinger.
Yes.
Motion to publish passes 5 in favor, 0 against. Okay, item number 9, city manager's report.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, oh, sure.
Somewhere in there, did we designate when it starts?
It's in the ordinance,
It has to be, it's upon publication,
right.
so it has to be published and then it starts. So when do you actually get published? We'll be
Will
published
be
in time.
published before the next
We'll be published
meeting.
before the next meeting.
We're still on schedule.
Right.
We'd
Could
on
be the
new
next, by the
schedule.
next meeting.
We'd be on the new schedule.
Yeah, so by the next meeting, it will take
Which is
over.
closer to the old schedule, yeah.
It'll be 7 at the next meeting.
It'll be, the next meeting would be 7, as long
that's
as,
correct.
provided we get it published in time.
That's exactly right.
Good question. So let's go ahead and move to item number 9, city manager's report.
I don't have a whole lot, I just wanted to remind everybody, the budget workshop is this Thursday at noon. And I guess we can discuss then how we want to do the timing for the final budget, which is fine. I also wanted to remind everybody that on September 6th, Tuesday, September 6th, at WNCC is the Master Comp Plan joint meeting between the City Council and the Planning Commission. So,
Where's that
at WNCC. And that's at 5:30 PM at WNCC. And that's September 6th. So, and that's a requirement of our master comp plan is for the two groups to get together. And
Have you told us about this before?
what's that?
Have you mentioned this before?
I think so. Pretty sure I sent out meeting notices.
What time was it?
I thought I sent out meeting
5:30.
notices.
5:30 PM.
September
6th.
So we don't get a Tuesday off. September's going to be
That's a joint meeting,
between the city council and the planning commission.
so what do we do at that meeting?
We'll go over what we're going to be doing in our comp plan so that you're aware of it and they're aware of it and you guys can both give input. We want input from the city council and the planning commission on how we move forward on
There's
master
nothing
comp.
requiring action, it's just an informational meeting?
Right, correct,
Okay.
correct. But we'll still have to do minutes for both,
Sure, as public meetings, yeah.
Right, we'll have to post for both of them.
Right.
And then the only other things I had, I wanted to congratulate Councilman Olson on his recent retirement. Went to the party, it was very nice.
Thank you, appreciate it. Doesn't take effect until September 2nd. so.
Oh, really? Is that when it starts? Okay. And the only thing?
Not that you're counting days.
Yeah, I just kind of, in 12 hours and 3 minutes and whatever else, right?
Still time to find them at the bank.
Yeah, still catching, right? And Big Red opens Saturday, and so does Red Raiders football, right? Friday?
Yes,
Friday?
yep.
So both start this weekend?
Yep, we
Football
have,
Friday night lights and Saturday.
yeah.
Who do you guys play first? Aldridge.
Okay, Chief, anything?
No, sir.
Marshall? Lane? Michael?
Good.
Autumn? Dean looks like he's got a lot on his mind.
Nope, I'm fine.
Okay. Council, any questions or comments?
I have one, and I was up on the hill the other day and that, the Wolf Auto Center there, it's getting pretty ratty.
Yeah, that's our next target.
And so we're working on that.
Yeah, we got the Family Dollar, and we got a couple others, that's the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one was he talking about?
Wolf Auto. We
Yes, yeah.
talked about that just the
We've
other
been
day
in
too.
contact with
Yeah.
them, they assured us it'll be done by the weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Brad?
Don't forget to put out your trash can for your grass tomorrow. I forget about every other Wednesday. so
Oh, that's
I thought I'd
terrible.
throw that out.
It's not good
So
when
you
you
want
forget
these
that.
minutes, so you-
Yeah,
That way I have to read it.
So it's stayed pretty good after 2 weeks.
Marva?
I got nothing.
Yeah, only comments I have, I'd echo what David said, we have school in full swing. Volleyball will have home matches on Thursday and also again on Saturday. And one thing about volleyball with their scheduling is they don't get very many matches at home anymore. So if you're looking to catch a volleyball game, Thursday and Friday are great opportunities to do so. And I would also add, the school has purchased new video boards that are installed, which the one that's inside the commons area will be showing live play as well as a concessions menu. It has the highest resolution of any video board. We're the first one to put it in a school in the nation. It
Wow.
has 1.2 million pixels. So the quality on that one is superb. I got to play around and help build some of the menus and stuff for
Where does that go? I mean,
That one is in the commons area on the north wall, near the concessions area, replacing one of the TVs that was there for informational purposes. So it'll carry live content if somebody were to step out with a child or other things like that. They could still watch the action going on to the gym that's right adjacent to that. Then there's also a new video board, a larger board in the gym itself. And basically, it's a program that was put together with the support of sponsors in the community. So we have a lot of sponsors in the community that stepped up and are helping making that a reality for the school. And those video boards, in addition to providing ads as sponsor towards the sponsors, will also provide some information statistics that normally are not available. For example, a volleyball game it would show you the 6 numbers of the players that are currently in the game, and every time something changes at the scores table, it gets updated automatically on the board. You could see number of aces, number of kills. Volleyball, you'll be able to see number of shots a player has made, points, live as the game is going on. And then a large aspect of that is also being run by the student broadcasting class and the SRTV. Then basically they are live streaming all of the home contests, volleyball, football, basketball, and such with that. So video boards is another component being added to that, provide even more services to the kids and the community members. And huge kudos to those businesses and sponsors that stepped up to make that a reality. It's going to be a very nice feature. So that's all I have. I don't know if there's any other information on item number 10. Other than that, I did have a closed session regarding personnel matters. Just wanted Jay, as legal counsel, kind of go through some of the evaluation process that we're getting ready to do and make sure everybody's on the same page and has the information that they need to move forward in an efficient manner. So at this time, I would ask if there is a motion to go into closed session. There will not be any other business after closed session. We'll just simply come out to adjourn, but I would need a motion to go into closed session. Motion by Olson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Sherman. Roll call.
Elwinger?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Olson?